welcome to part of my rabbitry. Today I'm going to talk just a little bit about Angora Rabbit Housing and why I decided to add an indoor climate control facility to my rabbitry. This is not my whole rabbitry. All my rabbits would not fit in here. But I use this facility a lot because it allows me so much more flexibility. For a long time I didn't have an indoor facility, and there was a lot of things about raising Angoras that I found very challenging. I had to be more careful about when I bred a rabbit because I didn't want her to have babies in the middle of August when it was going to be really hot and she might overheat, especially with some of my Germans that are a little bit more sensitive. That's primarily what I raise is German Angoras, and they do tend to be a little bit sensitive sometimes. And they have such a dense fiber that the heat can be really hard on them. So the last thing I want to do is stress them out. They don't need to be having babies in the heat. This allows me to bring them inside and not have to worry about when they're going to be having babies. It also allows me to be more flexible with winter breedings. Now, not all rabbits want to breed in the winter, but if they do, I have a climate control facility. I can bring them in and they can have babies comfortably. If they don't build up a big nest, I don't have to worry about them freezing. Right now, we've been in the teens and sometimes the single digits here in Tennessee, and I can't have kids out in this. I have tried it before and it did not work out. It was sad. So now I have freedom to breed rabbits in the winter and not have to worry about the kids freezing. Even if they have them on the wire, if I get to them in time, I can usually revive them. But if they were outside in 14-degree weather, I'm probably not going to be able to save them. So breeding is a big reason why I decided to add an indoor facility as part of my rabbitry. Also, something I found really annoying about not having a climate control facility is harvesting the fiber. In the summer, I felt really bad about wanting my rabbits to grow these big, huge coats, especially the Germans, because they're so dense and so thick. And sometimes they would just go off their food. They just didn't want to move. I mean, they're so hot. Tennessee gets horribly humid and horribly hot. Hard on an Angora rabbit. It's hard on regular rabbits sometimes. But the Angoras, and especially the Germans, if I wanted them to grow a big full coat, I felt kind of bad about that, and I would usually end up clipping them sooner than I wanted to. But now I have air conditioning, and in the summer I can bring them in here and they can comfortably grow out their big coat as comfortably as they can possibly be. It is one of the warmest fibers on earth. I can let them grow out that whole big coat and then clip them back and put them outside to enjoy being outside without all that hair and that heat stress. In the winter, something I found really annoying is I would either have to clip the rabbit. If it was ready to be clipped, I would have to clip it so I left some fiber on it, some of its wool, and then I'm losing fiber here. I didn't like that. Of course, the rabbit's comfort, the rabbit's health is much more important than my fiber. Having an indoor option, I can clip my rabbits back like I normally would, and then bring them inside where it's 61 degrees, and they can comfortably start to grow back their coat. And then once they've got about an inch, I can put them back outside to enjoy the cooler weather, which they seem to really love. But if I clip them down like I like to, and then put them outside, I don't want to have to put a bunny sweater on them or do any of that, because they're probably not gonna be really happy with that situation. They're probably not gonna keep it on. I don't want them to be cold. I can't risk my rabbits. I love my rabbits. I have some really good genetics. Definitely don't want to risk them. So by being able to bring them inside, I don't sacrifice my fiber quality or length, and they get to comfortably grow back their fiber, and then they'll be ready to go back outside. So So that is why I added this building to my rabbitry. It's just more convenient, and it's allowed me a lot more flexibility. Now, this building comfortably holds 12 rabbits. So I have to rotate them in and out as they're growing fiber, as I'm sharing them, as they're having babies. Nobody really lives in here full time. I just bring them in when they need to come in, and then when they can go outside, they can go outside, because a lot of them really enjoy being outside. I've only got one rabbit that really probably wishes she could stay in here all the time. She is in such a sweet mood inside, and then when I put her outside, she's like a little hater. And what we did was, I did not spend a lot of money on this. We went to one of those pre-built shed places where you can buy a shed that's already built, and we found something that had been repossessed, and so it was greatly discounted. So we brought it here, set it up in the rabbitry. We finished out the walls, put down a pet safe flooring, because rabbits are messy inside. That's one of the big cons, is you have a lot more mess to clean up. You know, they get hay everywhere. Mine get hay every day without fail, and they do get it everywhere. Sometimes they somehow, even with urine guards up, they will get pee outside their cage. I don't know how they do it, but they do. So we've got the pet safe flooring. We did put that down. I've got a heat and air unit, of course lighting, and I can keep a fan going in here to keep the air circulating. And we have good ventilation, because if you don't have good ventilation in an indoor rabbit facility, they can get sick from the fumes of their own urine. So that's one thing to look at if you're looking at adding an indoor rabbit facility. You need good, really good ventilation. Keep a fan going pretty much all time. They seem to really like that airflow, that circulation. Comfortably fits these 12 with food storage, shelves and table, and the sink. So having the running water was definitely not necessary, but it does make life a little bit more convenient for filling up their crocks or bottles or whatever kind of water system. Totally not necessary rabbit Angora housing, but yes, it makes life easier. And I do not regret doing it. It was money well spent, especially if you're really, really into German Angoras or any Angora, and you want to manage them with a lot of flexibility and not have to stress yourself out worrying about the weather and their coats growing or clipping or their babies. Sometimes I tend to stress about my animals, and especially the rabbits, because they're more sensitive than like my donkeys and my dogs, which are very resilient and hardy animals. German Angoras tend to be a little bit sensitive. Most Angora breeds are going to be a little bit more sensitive than donkeys and dogs, which is the other two things I primarily deal with on the farm. Hope this like kind of clears up, you know, do you need an indoor facility for Angoras or not? You don't. Is it nice? Absolutely. In future videos, I'll show you my outdoor facilities, which I've got set up pretty nice. I've got a facility set up in the barn, and then I have individual hutches outside for the rabbits too. I've got this whole rabbit complex on a very small footprint. Rabbits don't take up a lot of room if you think about how you lay things out. So anyway, I hope you find this helpful. If you love Angora fiber, Angora rabbits, please subscribe to my channel, go to my website, and sign up for my email list. Y'all have a good one.